Let's start with saying something that most coaches and people and anyone doesn't want to admit or say out loud. A lot of entrepreneurs are deeply uncomfortable selling. Hey, I'm raising my hand. Not because you don't believe in your work, not because you're bad at business, but because somewhere along the way, selling started feeling manipulative, performative, and disconnected from who you actually are. So you're over explaining, or you're undercharging, or you're hiding behind all your free content. Hey, yo, welcome to the club. Or you start like me, stacking value so that you can actually invite people. But the value stack is actually pushing people away, making them not want to work with you. And then what you're doing, because you're not selling, because you've overstacked, you've undervalued, you've overexplained, guess what? You tell yourself that you're not salesy when what you really mean is that you don't want to betray your own values. If that's ever felt true to you, this episode is important because the problem isn't that you're bad at selling. Are you ready for this? The problem is that you were taught to sell without connection. And guess what? Your story is that bridge that fixes that. Let's do this. Welcome to Podcast Story Selling. I'm Jen Dragonette. Here, we use your story to lead with connection before strategy. So your podcast doesn't just grow, it converts. And your business actually pays you without hustling harder. And the best part, we get to do it with ease because we focus on the right effort. In the last 2 episodes, we talked about why your story matters and how to extract those moments inside that create that connection without having to trauma dump. Today, we're going to take it the next step. That how the story naturally turns into revenue without hyping it up, without the pressure, without the funnels that make you feel like you need a shower afterwards. Those icky, I'm a used car salesman kind of, feeling. Here's the reframe that's going to change everything. Your story is already selling you. Whether it's intentional or not, people are listening for clues. They're listening for why you care about the problem you solve. They're listening to whether you lived it, studied it, walked through it, or witnessed it close enough to truly understand beyond the theory of whatever it is that you're selling. This is where most of those strategy-heavy approaches are going to fall short and leave you feeling the ick. They focus on features, frameworks, outcomes without addressing the most important psychological question that your audience is asking. You want to know what it is? Can I trust you with this part of my life or my business? Trust doesn't come from value stacking. It doesn't come from credentials alone. And it definitely doesn't come from shouting your CTA louder. You don't know what a CTA, call to action. Trust comes from true emotional resonance. When someone hears your story and thinks, she gets that. Oh, that sounds just like me. Wow, is she talking directly to me? That's the moment that the sale is already happening. Not because you're convincing them, but because they feel seen. That's why people-first storytelling converts than any other funnel out there. It doesn't try to move people faster than their nervous system is ready for. It doesn't create urgency through fear. It creates momentum through recognition in you and their story. This is why selling through story never feels like pitching when it's done right. You're not saying, hey, here's my offer, buy it, give me money, look at me. You're saying, here's the moment that changed how I see the problem. If you're here too, I can help. That's not manipulation. That's leadership. Case in point is that I've been doing this for the last, I don't even know how many years now. I've been doing this, 9 years now? Oh my goodness. Podcasting focused for about 6. Oh, that's hard to say. But in reality, what's happening is right now, if you haven't seen, you know me, I don't live on socials. I don't love socials, but I'm posting about sourdough because I didn't pick it up in 2020 like everyone else. I am 5.5 years late to the game, but I'm doing sourdough. What's happening is I have sold so much through my story. I have connected deeply through my story that as I started showing up back online, I have 3 calls this week with people for either coaching, possible production, or maybe to join my next mentorship program. They reached out to me just because I showed up, because I connected through story. I didn't have to sell them. Yes, it says podcast glow up in the top of my Facebook feed, but you know what happened? I haven't been selling. I've been talking about how sourdough is teaching me patience and how it's related to podcasting. I'm not selling people. People are reaching out to me because they want to connect. They see themselves in the struggles that I'm sharing. So how does your story connect to your offer? This is so important. And most people, most entrepreneurs, most podcasters don't see this, because every offer you have exists because of something you've lived, you've noticed, you have studied, you could no longer ignore. Maybe you had lost yourself, or you burned out, or you followed the rules and still felt empty. Maybe you watched clients struggle in the same way over and over again. Your story is why you built what you built. And when you leave that story out, that's why your sales feel so random. That's why everything feels so random, because you're so stuck in the facts. This is what you're going to get. I mean, I hear so many sales pitches. It's like, you get 5 calls with me and 10 this and 5 this and blah, blah. And it's like, I don't care. What am I going to walk away with? You know, that's the shift from pitching to inviting. We want to invite people in. You don't need to convince someone that your work has value. You need to recognize that they can see themselves in the story. They themselves need to see the reason why your offer exists. That's the people first foundation, which I believe podcasting, hands down, is the best way outside of in-person networking to actually make sales. Because it's not salesy. It's like when you have a best friend and you're like, oh my goodness, I tried this, I don't know, face cream, or I don't know. I'm just talking out my butt now, but I tried this face cream and it's so great. And you want to tell everybody about it because you want to genuinely help them. It doesn't give you revenue. It doesn't do anything, but you want to help them. I want you to look at your business the same way. Now, because we love action steps around here, and I would never just set you up with a story and be like, peace out. Your 15-minute action step of the day, I'm going to call this your story to your offer bridge, ferry, whatever you want it to be. So here it is. Ready? I want you to set a 15-minute timer. And remember back to the last episode, that moment, that realization, or that experience that shaped the problem that you are helping people with. Again, that moment, that realization, that piece of the story, not the whole story. If you didn't do that, go back to the last episode, or the last 2 episodes actually, and you can really get the story framework in there, because you need those moments, those realizations, or that experience. And I want you to write one sentence that connects your story directly to what you sell. I'm not asking you for a tagline. This is not a mission statement. This is a human sentence that sounds like something you could actually say to someone. You know, because I know how it feels. I lost myself. I help podcasters and entrepreneurs find their voice and their message through podcasting. Or something like, after watching so many people burn out trying to market the right way on social media, I built a strategy that actually feels sustainable, fun, and that creates a legacy. See? Because I'm talking about burnout. The first one, I was talking about losing myself. You know, this sentence kind of becomes that piece that throughout your podcast, your content, and your business, it helps you explain why you do what you do. Not just what you do, but why you do it. If someone hears nothing else from you, that sentence should make sense to them. So this is a different way of reframing that stupid I help statement of like, who gives a crap? Because I know what it was like to lose myself and to feel like I didn't deserve to be on this planet. Now I'm helping other entrepreneurs find their voice through podcasting so they can build legacies. It's huge. It's not my whole story. It's not even the fraction of how I open my signature suites. It's that little piece. So when selling starts feeling hard, it's rarely because you need better tactics. It's usually because your audience doesn't understand why this work matters to you, and therefore why it matters to them. Story does not replace all the strategy, but it gives the strategy something to stand on. When you lead with connection, when you lead with people, you stop that feeling pressure to sell, and you start feeling like you're actually standing on an act of service. Me helping you with your podcast, helping you write your book from your podcast, or turning your book into a podcast It is a service because the more you lean in, the more you can find out about yourself and move forward. I love when I get to do deep dives with people for years on end. I have a couple of clients, and you know that my favorite was someone who was in essential oils and a health practitioner that eventually opened up a 501c that helped people that were survivors of violence. And that was amazing to help walk through there, but it was because you can talk it out differently on a podcast. So if you need help tightening up the story to offer connection, hey, I have a free 30-minute CPR audit. CPR, clarity on your people and your purpose so we can rev up your revenue. This is 30 minutes where you get me to look at your podcast and your business. This is not a sales call. This is no pressure. After the 30 minutes, if you want to talk about working together, we can. If not, that's okay too. You'll still get to pick my brain for 30 minutes and I'll give your podcast and business a little bit of CPR. Let's resuscitate what's already there instead of replacing it. We don't have to start over. We don't have to burn it down. We just have to make some of these little tweaks. So next week, we're talking community over the freaking algorithms. You know, that connection strategy that's actually going to grow your business and why real growth is never going to come from chasing platform numbers, but it is going to come from building relationships that compound trust, visibility, and revenue over time, because it's all about people first. Now go out and make today amazing because you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are worthy, and your story deserves a microphone. Now go do the thing.